And we are back to the Awaken Men podcast. We
Yes.
are here always talking about different things, different everything. And I do have some news for me. It's like one of my uncles passed away this uh, past week, and it was a shock. It was an accident. Somebody hit him from behind and pretty much killed him. And if you see the car, it's like you would understand. It's like, holy crap! The things that you see in an accident is pretty crazy. But now that we're on to, I wanted to give that. So in case if you see me out of it, that's probably some of it. But I wanted to share, be here with you guys. Because it's healing for me, and always talking to Daniel when we do these podcasts, it helps me too. So Daniel, thank you for being always flexible with all of this, and I guess let's get started, right?
Yeah, no. Sorry for your loss. I always feel weird saying that. Like, sorry for your loss. Like, because I'm probably the 1000th person.
Well,
Like, it just sucks, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting, because when my brother died, he also died pretty instant of a car wreck, not, and it wasn't his fault either. And those things, it's like I would used to get really triggered by that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss, and because for whatever reason. But now it's like I see the universe and I see us so different, and I do miss them. Don't get me wrong. The human side of me does, but I know that they're here with me still, and we're still connected. And to me, it's gonna sound weird, but it's kind of cool that now they're over there and they're helping us through this now. So now they've gone, or that maybe they started another life now. But just knowing that they're out there and I'll see them again makes me feel better now. And it's funny how we treat death. The condolences and sorry for your loss, and those words to me are very different now.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just interesting to say them. It feels cliche, and I guess I don't want to be cliche. Like, it's almost like when you say, how are you? Sometimes you're just like, okay. So I'm like, what could I say different?
Yeah, and that's the funny part, isn't it? I mean, we're so death is the mystery of everything. And people, we can have all these beliefs and everything. The truth of the matter is we really don't know until the physicality of us is gone.
Right.
And it's faith. We have faith. It's like they talk about Christianity, having faith. Any type of inner work that we're doing, we also have to have faith. I mean, do we believe what we're talking about? It's like, do we believe in past lives? Do we believe that there's this energetic bond? And I feel there is. And to me, that's my comfort. I don't know how you feel about all of this, Daniel, because death is very touchy subject to different people too.
Yeah. I mean, I've experienced in my own way through ayahuasca ceremonies what it's like to die. And doesn't mean, so I've had that experience, so I know what it's like to go into bliss. So like part of me is not scared when people die. Yeah. And then I had this one story when I was in a campsite by myself and I was doing the shamanic thing. I'm not by no means a shaman, but you sit in a campsite yourself for like 2 days and you don't move. So I was keeping a fire going, and then bullets whizzed by my campsite as I was reading this book saying you need to not be scared of death. And in that moment, I was really scared of death. Like when the bullets whizzed by. So
am I hearing you right? Bullets?
Bullets, yeah. So it was like near a shooting range, and I guess these guys were shooting recklessly because they went down finally to see what was going on. And I don't think they were that close, but it just like it was ricocheting bullets. It's I'm like, oh my, and I can hear it sometimes at this campsite, just fine. But this was like over my head, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like paralyzed. I was just scared. And I don't even know if that was fear of death. It was just like my natural reaction to bullets coming over my head was to freeze.
Well, we are human. I mean, we do have this entity. I mean, no matter what what you say, we still are souls in human bodies. I mean, so yeah, we're going to take care of our body. I mean, we want to make sure that our soul has the full blown experience, right? No matter what it is.
Yeah. The funny part of the story is that I was literally reading a book and it was like, oh, you're scared of death, or you need not be scared of death. And I literally went in my head, I'm not scared of death. And a second later, bullets were whizzing by my campsite. And I was just like, oh, maybe I am. Got humbled a little bit there.
Yeah, the universe has a way of making us really test us. It's like, okay, you really think so? It's like, all right, let's throw this out there.
It's so funny. I
You
just
know,
never forget that.
yeah. And were you so you were there on a camping trip or your own retreat type thing, or what were you doing?
I was living in a campsite. I was
Okay.
being a nomad at that point.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was living up there. I mean, I would live with other people and take showers. Like
Hmm.
I was safe. Don't worry.
Uh-huh. Well,
Uh,
the it's funny, because it really does show death to me shows something that we never really quite understand, but it makes you really look at in your entire life. It's like, and I'm not saying that I go back and look at everything I've done wrong or anything. I'm just saying it'll make gives me my humanity. It's like, oh, okay, I am human. It's like I do hurt and I do cry. It's like my uncle, I mean, you want to talk a man of service. It's like the man was not only was he helping people around, he was also a veteran. So he was in the Vietnam War. He also went to the American Legion, and he was like going up the chain. I think there's a district manager or something like that. There's some hierarchy anywhere, and he was pretty high up there.
right.
And then there was military honors done on his behalf for that. It was amazing the amount of people. I mean, the whole place was packed,
Oh
and
wow.
it made me look at it, and it's like, wow, that's service. A man so giving, and he was a very giving thing. But you know, I, it's so funny because in funerals we always talk about all the good things, but he had a temper too. So and I love him for it. I mean, we all have our little qualities, but we have to recognize the totality of the person. And while he was a good man, he did have he could flare up just like all of us. So
Right.
yeah, and it's quite a challenge to be through that, especially for me going through it again. It's the because it was an accident, it wasn't expected, so it happened right away, and it's like
Right.
I got the phone call and boom,
Oh
crazy.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's intense for sure. I mean, it's funny because we don't want people to die instantly.
right.
But as a selfish person, if I wanted to die, I would love someone to ram me in the back with a car and just be like, "Whoop, done." Like if I'm gonna go, like launch me, like drop me out of a helicopter onto some concrete, like that just be done. It just don't.
Yeah, the quick death is always yeah, an option, and uh, the thing is though that we never have a control of that option, right? Well, I guess you could if you really wanted to, but I
I mean, we
mean,
have a fear of death for a reason, so we don't off ourselves like that.
yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like so. Um, I did a post, kind of like talking about it because I was getting dressed for the funeral, and it's in the middle of all that. I got a sign from Spirit. It's like, okay, you got to say these words, and it was all about yes, I miss him, but more of when we're in those less than easy times, let's have gratitude. I mean, we have clean water that we can open up a faucet. We have the we still have some of us still have families, others don't. People have clean water and others don't. I mean, it shows me gratitude. In a weird way, it made me feel better that that yes, he's gone. I still miss him. But I'm very grateful that I'm still alive. I mean, I have all of this stuff, all these beautiful gifts around me, our friendship, this podcast, and my pets, and roof over my head. And I just can't explain it. it made the pain a little bit easier. And
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I don't know if you have any explanation for that, but I definitely can't explain it.
Well, gratitude is a very quick way to feel better. I mean, it's been proven at this point. So, I mean, it's the quickest way to raise your vibration or raise your mood or whatever words you want to use. I mean, people do it naturally, right? Like it's natural. People die. Like, well, he's in a better place now. Like that's really a gratitude way of being. And if you believe totally in spirit and you believe people die and go somewhere, I mean, it's not going to be as painful. I mean, really grief for an atheist is the most painful because they think they're just gone, right? There's no ever seeing them again.
That is a good point. But I mean, don't atheists, I mean, the way I see it, it's like our soul, I would think it's some energy. So the atheist could even say that that energy is going back into the big energy pool because you can't destroy energy and we can't create it. So it's always there. So I would think, I don't know. I'm not an atheist.
Not the atheists I know. They would just say you're gone.
Okay.
Which I guess would be that same statement, right? Like, I mean, you just go to an energy pool.
Yeah.
There's not much evidence that there's no soul, but I guess we'll just go with that. I mean,
yeah. And it comes back to faith, you know, you got to have that faith. And no matter if it's true or not, I believe that there is something, might not be what, you know, the Bible says or what other religions say or whatever, but it's my belief and that comforts me.
Yeah. I mean, if people are having near-death experiences over and over again and coming back and saying they had these experiences of beings or spirits, at some point, that's valid evidence that it exists. And then all the past life stories of children remembering past lives. I mean, that's all evidence to me to prove it. There's much more proof that it might exist than the opposite, that there's nothing. There's no proof of that.
Yeah.
That I know of. That's just, if you know, but yeah, there's a little bit of faith there because you got to kind of jump to it. I guess it's more of a theory, right? Than the actual proof. But so is evolution is a theory. So
yeah, I mean, when we talk about anything about our life or how we progressed, I mean, there's just so many theories. I mean, even now that they actually shown a picture of a black hole, I mean, it's still just a picture. It's like until we go and visit it, it's like, well, no, if it really is a black hole, right? So, so the scientists have faith on the pictures that they have. So,
I mean, they have faith in the scientific method,
right?
Right. I mean, their faith is in science. I mean, that is a dogma or a religion in some senses, not in a bad way, but it is a belief system, right? Just as you believe that. Yeah, and it's a good one. I mean, for certain things, for sure. It has its limitations. Just
yes, it does.
Because if you got to have quantitative evidence, it's hard to prove soul, right? Like, because it's not very, or love. They've done it in psychology. It's really weird. But, like, there's some things that are just out of that realm.
Well, I mean, you can get into consciousness, too. I mean, what about consciousness? You know, there's also that, which is kind of interesting because when you get to those kind of things, it really is all about just believing in what you believe in.
Right. Yeah, and science is a belief until it's not, right? Like people believed in, you know, that entities were causing mental illness, and then they believe that your neurotransmitters a certain way, and now some people believe entities, you know, cause mental illness. Really weird. But like it's just a belief system, right? And I think they're all right. It's just how they see the energy of consciousness. So if you're a Christian, you believe in entities, you're going to see entities. If you're a mental health practitioner and you see the same person, you're going to see a mental illness.
Yes.
They look the same. They're just like a different viewpoint on the same thing. I don't like that there's demons in you. Like I'd rather go a little more objective, but but like it's just your lens you look at life.
Yes.
Your belief system, right? And that's actually science.
Yeah, and you know, it comes back to what reality are you living in? That's what when I do coaching with people, it's like I ask them, it's like you know, what their beliefs are, and I don't change anybody's beliefs. It's because their belief is their reality. And to
Right.
convince somebody that their reality is not real, I mean, that's a lot of work, and that's a lot of power on me that I really don't want to expend, because in all honesty, what they believe is what's keeping them in either their faith or in what keeps them moving. So the only thing that we can ever do is give them a different perspective, and then if they choose to go in that direction, they do. And if they if they do, then if they chose it, then I guess it's what it's for them.
Right.
But that whole thing about I was actually talking to somebody last night, the night before, and they asked me, it's like, so do you change people's beliefs? It's like, because I don't really like that. I go, no, no, I don't. And they started talking to me about different people in the metaphysical realm that are telling them, oh, you believe in the Bible, that's wrong. And she had a bad taste in her mouth about that. It's like I don't like people tell me I don't believe, that I shouldn't believe in this. And I feel that's
Right.
another trait, of a coach, that if you have a coach or somebody telling you that, it's somebody just kind of imposing their beliefs. And I don't think a coach should do anything like that.
No. I mean, that's why coaches need more training.
Yes.
Coming from like a therapist perspective, like that's like the no of the no-nos, right? Is
Yeah.
projecting your stuff on. And I've done it and I'm mindful of it. I'm like, oh crap, I just projected.
Where
Which is what you want to be, is mindful, but yeah, you want to work within their realm. So if I'm like talking to someone that's in the Bible, I will use those quotes and be like, and if I'm talking about faith, I'll use Job, with the story of his life falling apart, but he still had faith. So what your external circumstances are happening
Mhm.
doesn't affect your connection to source or God.
Yes.
But if I'm talking to someone that believes in Abraham Hicks, I'm gonna be like, well, you want to be unconditional loving, so don't worry about anything around you and just focus on your internal state, and your internal state will reflect your external state. Really, I'm saying the same thing,
Yes.
but I'm using different words depending on the person.
And it's funny because when it comes down to it, when you get to the root of everything, all it really is, it's about loving one each other and being kind to each other. I mean, no matter which way you look at it, the Bible, they want to love you also. And in the metaphysical realm, just the different belief systems, everybody wants love is one of the key things. In Taoism, we're all connected. We should get along. I mean, in the Hindu culture, I mean, in everything. I mean, we have that thing, and it amazes me how that comes, how we forget that, and how that comes out more when there's a huge trauma like a death. When something hits, or everybody decides to take off their mask and be raw and be who they are. And sometimes it pisses some people off, and it's fine, that's who they are. But it's just fascinating to me what happens when we go through a trauma event like this.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when you go through some traumatic event or life, shit hits the fan, that shows you how far you've come. It's
Yeah.
really kind of like your barometer, right? Like if you were working out, you'd go on an obstacle course and time yourself, and you're like, whoa, look, I did better next time. Like spirituality is like a circle to me too. Like everything
Yes.
repeats this weird, bizarre way, and you're supposed to, how do you respond to it is really your, from like a Buddhist perspective, or like anyone's, I mean, how
Yeah.
even in law of attraction perspective, how you respond to what happens creates the next step.
Yeah, and that's the test, the awareness. It's like we have to be aware. We
Mhm.
we talk about the slowing down, and that's that awareness, because
Yeah.
we move so fast. I mean, that's one of the things I noticed. Like the so he in this, I noticed the speed, because he was in an accident on Thursday, and by Tuesday we had the service and everything, and going at that speed, the arrangements and all of this. It's like had to move, and it's like one thing after another, and it just amplified the speediness of our society. I mean, we just move so fast. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The last couple weeks, because like I said, I wasn't working that much. I
Mhm.
just felt like I couldn't, but I've been sitting in nature a lot for, I mean, like 6 to 7 hours at a time, like no phone. And yeah, we're missing everything. Like
Yeah.
I even I had this experience, and it's not wrong, but I was like walking, I was barefoot walking because that slows me down a lot. Like if
Mhm.
I'm barefoot, I can't walk as fast. So it's like I have to be more mindful of each step. And these bikers were going by. And I was the only one really hiking. It's kind of a mountain biking area in the middle of the
Mhm.
mountains of Colorado. And I realized how much they're missing. Like there's
Yep.
this like beautiful overlook of this river and this mountains, and I'm just sitting there for like an hour, like watching the river, being like, "Holy cow! Like this is amazing!" Like it was just like rapids and
Yeah.
stillness and just, oh, it's beautiful. And everyone's riding by, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool!" Like I've been that person, but I was like, "Whoa! Like how much do I miss?" And the funny part is, there was this one moment when I was walking, and I was barefoot, walking slow, and people were riding the bikes, and they're riding really fast, and then they would stop
Mhm.
catch up, and they were like, and I kept on catching up to them, and
Um,
I was walking slow. So it was this like ironic thing where I was like, oh, like the more I slow down, the more opportunities are actually coming to me, because the
mhm.
universe can find me. It's like, okay, if you rest, then the universe will give you the next step in clarity. But no one rests, so
Mm.
they never get the next step. They're just running in a circle. Like most people are just drinking
Yep.
caffeine right in the morning. I did this, and so they can go do their job that they don't, they're like, they're not listening, to that part of themselves that needs to slow down. I'm grateful that I can,
Yeah.
and I can survive, but I chose that path.
Yeah, and that's how accidents happen, when people aren't paying attention. It's like uh and I'm not just talking about the car accident. I'm talking any type of accident. Wherever you're at, it's like chances are we weren't paying attention. Like
Yeah.
if we hit our toe or if we drop something, it's because we weren't paying attention to something. And that's because we're trying to go by the clock. And we talked about time in the other one. It's like in the other episode before this. And the we use time for just everything to push and push and push and push. And we should be working with time, not trying to manipulate time to our to ourselves. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
No, I mean, yeah, using time as like a friend, or, the
Yeah.
space you have. Like, I mean, sometimes you like, I had to create space, right? Like I stopped
Yeah.
working and trusted the universe would give me abundance, and like trusted that when if I'm tired, I need to rest, right? Like,
Hmm.
my favorite statement that someone else might have said before is, my body is smarter than me. So if my body's tired, I listen to it. I don't listen to my mind, because we're all running so fast.
Right.
But our bodies are telling us to sleep, like maybe 12, 14. I mean, I tell my clients to sleep all
Mm.
day. Like I'll be like, sleep, you'll feel better. And it works. And whatever that is, right? We're
Yeah.
running at, especially when you come out of winter, it would be like a bear not hibernating and then trying to move after not hibernating. Like it wouldn't have a good
Yeah.
summer. And that's literally the cycle people are on. They're like, why can't I get inspired? I'm like, didn't chill out for a while. like, like
Yeah.
your
Very.
body is exhausted and you're running a bunch of caffeine through it and trying to get yourself moving, and it's not working. So
Yeah.
just surrender to the tiredness.
And that's the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, surrendering. It's like not surrendering to that. And even so, you talk about knowing about your body. It's like that. There's some people that are completely disconnected. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but in my awakening, when my brother got killed, it's like then I started going through my process. And finally, I got to a point that I realized I was desensitized. My hands, like when I would touch something, I never realized I had no sensation. It's like, wow, it's like this has texture. It's like, holy crap. And
Right.
when I got my awakening, it's like, holy crap. It's like there's a whole nother world that I had blocked off. So I was disconnected from my body at that time. So it made me wonder, it's like, how many more people are out there going around like that?
So many.
Mm.
I mean, I mean, especially in the United States, I mean, people are just disconnected from touch and sexuality and pleasure and eating their foods. Like
Yeah.
everyone's eating fast. Like there's no slowing down enough to enjoy. Like people can't even have tea, right? They gotta like chug their coffee while in their car. They can't even like sit in a coffee shop for like 20 minutes and just like. And I've been there, but like, have you ever just went to a restaurant, like read a book and like enjoyed your food? Like I spot people that do that. Like it's so great. Like you spend like an hour with yourself, like with your food, and like I don't know. And we don't have time for that. But to me, like slowing down creates better ideas,
Yes.
creates more money, and creates it saves me time. It's like the ironic thing. I'll have an idea and I'll get like for me, I'm a coach. Like I literally had an idea last night, posted something and got a client within a day. Like people spend so much time searching out for clients. I just knew what to do because I was tapped into this other consciousness.
Yeah.
And my brain was working better because I was rested, ironically.
Yeah, it's people think that like I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't have the time for meditation, and you actually do. It's like because how many times are you actually distracted doing something else that had absolutely nothing to do with your day? Sometimes just organizing papers. It's like, and really, it's not even organizing. It's just shuffling them around and going, "Oh, okay, this goes in a little stack." And we spend like a few hours just trying to do that. It's like, you could have taken 1 hour, meditated, and you probably would have been able to organize those papers much faster after that.
Right. Or you didn't need to.
Or you didn't need to,
There's a
correct.
lot of things you don't need to do. And like the more you meditate, the more you'll realize like, oh, I don't really need to do that. I don't really need to do that. And you might want to, right? And there's perfect timing for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you'll do it at the right time. That's the flow. It's like, well, I'm sitting at the DMV. Let me do all these errands now. And then it's like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Let me do this in this moment. Like I've literally sent emails to people while at restaurants because I was thinking about it, waiting for food. Like it's like I'm always in the flow. It's not like I have to be like, this is my time to do this. And
Right.
I can't function that way. Some people are good with that structure, but
I'm definitely not one of them. I tell you that right now. I cannot work that way. It's for me, my brain doesn't operate that way. My brain, I really do go with the flow. It's like, okay, oh yeah, I got an email. It's like, okay, I can take about 5 minutes and do it.
right.
And with my work, with my IT work, sometimes I have idle time, so I hit enter, waiting for the program to install or doing something, and sometimes it's just a matter of responding to a text or just looking at a email or something. Because I'm in the flow, it's like I go, okay, I go here and then I go back. I go here and then go back. And some people don't operate that way. I do know some people like that. And it's okay. It's because that's who you are. I mean, that's who they are. And it's okay to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you got to find your own flow. Some people are super structured, some people aren't. And then you got to find the teacher that helps you with that certain path that you want to go on. But I can tell you, like, I used to do 30 hours. I would work 30, 32 hours at a job, and most people took 50 hours. It's because I was so efficient and in the flow that I could do it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I wanted to go do fun things. So, like, I want to get out of there. And people would, like, talk and gossip. And then they would complain about how much they worked to each other. And I was like, oh, my God, if you just, like, closed your door and worked for, like 20 minutes, like you'd got all that done, but you just complained about it for 30 minutes. Like you'd be like, yeah, I don't have time to meditate. And I'm like, well, they watch, 3 hours of Netflix a night. I'm like, you're kind of full of crap. Like you could watch 2 hours of Netflix, right? And meditate an hour, or like,
yeah,
people just make excuses. And I do too. Mine was always money. I can't do this because I don't have the money. And I realized, oh yeah, that's my excuse. Like that's dumb. I've traveled across the country with $200. That's not an excuse. I can go work, 60-hour week and then go on vacation. Like, it's my choice.
And that's all it is. It really comes down to just a choice of everything. We can choose to slow down. We can choose to be fast paced. We can choose to be in the flow. We can choose to cry about this. We can choose to be mad about this. It's all a choice. That's why I also find it kind of interesting when people say it's like, oh, well, no, it's out of my hands. It's like, no, it's not. It really is all in your hands.
How you choose to respond to it's definitely in your hands. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's really the choice I feel like I have. Like, oh, I don't have, money. Like, what do I do? I'm tired. I rest and I enjoy it. Or do I sit here and complain that I can't move? Right. Like,
Right.
and based on that, I feel like that's how you create your reality. It's how you respond to what happens.
Yes.
Because that's, if someone yells at you, do you yell back or do you walk away or do you compliment them? Like, how do you respond? Right. I can't really control if someone comes and yells at me or not. Right. Like, if someone wants to flick me off, or, I'll do it off screen just in case, from like another car, I can flick them off back, or I can be like, whatever, and like jam out to my music and send them a blessing. Right.
Yes.
That's my choice. I don't believe in the mirror thing a lot. Like, because they flicked me off, that means I'm not in a good vibration. Like,
I don't agree with that either.
That's way, like, I can't control other people with my vibration. I can control my reaction, because if I'm in a certain state, like I meditated an hour this morning, I'm not going to react in a harsh way, right, to that thing, because I lifted my spiritual weights before I went out the door.
Yeah, I like that. Your spiritual weights. Do you do 10 pound, 20 pound, 100 pound? What do you wear?
I mean, I got Archangel, Raphael, spotting me, and I'm lifting just like 300 kilograms of lights, just bringing up that spirituality.
I like that. I'm going to go do my spiritual workout right after this. So,
yeah. I mean, Matt Kahn says this, but a lot of people do. Like, meditation isn't for to feel good. It's so when shit hits the fan, you can handle it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're preparing, right? You're like the martial artist preparing for like a fight. Like, you're like, if I meditate, then I can handle the consciousness of this planet, which is effed.
Yeah, the thing about like the reflection thing that you're talking about, it's like what my belief is, it's not really a reflection thing. It's more of we're intermingling vibrations, and we can choose what vibration we're gonna be in. That's the way I see it. So, like, if that person flips me off, now to me, that has never, even when I used to not be that awakened, it's like I it didn't bother me, but I can choose whether to react to that and go into that vibration, is the way I see it. So if I were to react, then that means I'm going into that vibration. And to me, if we're choosing that, then I'm going to start feeling however that person's feeling. So I rather have my own vibration and go, it's like, yeah, all right. It's like, if you're mad, it's like, all right, you're angry. It's like, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, as an empath in training, like, yeah, that's super important. It's like, that's like a survival mechanism. And obviously meditating in the morning and getting ready for the day is also.
Yeah.
I don't start my day very early. Like, I like to meditate and like really take it slow. The universe has always kind of given me that schedule, and it's kind of been nice, but it works for me as much. If I really need 2 hours before I do anything in the morning. Like, if it's less than an hour, I can tell, like, I'm rushed. So, and that's the slowing down, right? Whatever you need. So that's why I think drives to work or whatever. Like, but waking up going right to work is not good for anyone, right? It's not good for a child either, which is what we do to our children. We send them to school. We won't give them any time to chill. They're just like running out the door and like, they're crazy at school. I'm like, well, yeah, you would be crazy too.
Yeah, they yeah. I don't have much to say about that. The craziness also is kind of interesting, because it is like the mob effect. It's like once something happens, when you're in a crowd that's angry, it's like all of a sudden it's like that vibration just starts getting to you, especially when we're empaths. When we're an empath, we're able to feel other people. And to me, it took a while to figure out. It's like, okay, is that my feeling or their feelings?
Right.
And separating that was one of the things that really has helped me. And Vipassana actually is what helped me in seeing that.
Mhm.
It really helped me in, okay, this is you, because in Vipassana you scan your body. So I really got to see what was me and what was other stuff.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and I can't even describe how, because I've had some people ask me, so how do you do that? I go, I don't know. It's like once you do it, it's like you will understand, because if I try to put language to it, I know I'm gonna screw it up, and I know I'm not gonna explain it very, very
It's not
well.
there's not a good way of teaching it. I mean, it's like Buddhism,
No,
right? I'll tell you to go meditate because that's going to give you the information you need,
right?
right? Like giving you those skills. Like, well, how did you do it? Well, I went to meditate for 10 days. Go do that, and then you'll find your own way, right? Because we all have our
Yeah,
own superpowers, and we have to go internally to find them.
yeah,
Like some people are the opposite; they're not empaths, and they can really project their vibration onto a situation. Like they can be politicians, and
yes,
like that's amazing, right? That could be their
yep,
superpower. Like just like the X-Men, we all got a couple powers. Like but we don't spend enough time to find them. We're still
uh,
trying to fit into this reality, and that's not working.
I know X-Men, everybody wants to be Wolverine. I want to have Storm's power. He's like, move the
Yeah,
weather. It's like, dang it, it's too hot right now in Texas. Let me bring some cool weather here, damn it.
right. That would be amazing. Yeah, I like the cloak. Who does cloaking?
The cloak, is that Nightcrawler?
Maybe. I think so.
Nightcrawler is the one that disappears and then he pops somewhere else. No,
Yeah,
no, so that wouldn't be
that's. I always
cloaking.
want to be invisible to get into places.
Be the fly on the wall, huh?
Mhm. Be like Ant Man, the worst superhero ever.
Man, we really
Just
go
comic
everywhere.
relief to everyone else.
Oh man, we really go everywhere on this podcast, don't we?
It's true. We do.
That's awesome. Um, it's funny also the other part about moving through our own weight. It's like our meditation. We sometimes we try to, well, at least with me, it's like, let me rephrase that. Sometimes I think that it has to look this way or that way, and I've gotten better at not expecting it to look this way or that way. My expectations have been definitely narrowed down. And once I remove those expectations from stuff, it's so much easier to deal with all of this stuff. And meditation, because I do my meditation as soon as I get up. As soon as I get up, if I'm groggy or something, it's like I just go, it's like, okay. So I'm just going to sit here for an hour and I do it. And sometimes I
Yep.
meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but as long as I do something in the morning, and then I
Yeah.
get my day started. But it does take me about an hour to 2 hours, like you, to get started. But after my meditation, that is.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you just have to sit there.
Yeah,
If you got to go in nature in a park with no phone, sit there. Like,
yeah,
there's no rules about it. I mean, I'm a big fan of that. I mean, I can do breath and I can do mantra and I can do all these different types of
hmm,
meditations and body scanning. I mean, at this point, I could do what I needed to do. I can go to Atlantis and go chill in a healing temple. Like, I can
yeah,
do all these things, but just sitting there a lot of times is the best way of doing it. And if you're doing it, you're doing it right, right? That's always
yep,
the key. If you show up to the gym, you're going to be in better shape if you didn't.
yep,
Even if you didn't do great workouts and just walked on a treadmill, like it's better than not going to the gym.
yeah.
So it's just like anything, it's a practice. But people always want to get it perfect at first, which
Hey,
is probably why they need to sit in meditation.
hey, I completely understand. You know me and that perfectionist thing that caused me some things to get delayed because of that.
Yeah. I've had the internal perfectionists more than the external perfectionists, where I
Mm.
wanted to be like super nice and always perfect and all these different things and never cutting myself a break for, now I'm just like, yeah, it's much
Yeah,
easier. Like, oh yeah, I'm growing. I'm a human. Cool.
yeah.
How do I react to even what I do? Right? If I stub my toe, do I like beat myself up or go, oh, like let me do some Reiki on it and sit here and go, that stub your toe sounds that you make.
Yeah. and that hurts. I don't know what those little nerve endings there on those toes for whatever reason. It's like God, they hurt.
It's the worst.
But we learn
Yeah.
by pain, right? Because in emotional pain, we learn by physical pain because it makes us more conscious, and if it doesn't, make us more aware of where we're stepping if we hit our toe. So, I
Right.
mean, we learn with pain, which is crazy.
It's true. Have you ever listened to interviews with people that don't have pain and like how hard their lives are?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have no pain sensors and their lives are just like super difficult.
Yeah, because
It'd
it's
be
the
like,
way.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay. It would be like not having emotions too. It's the same thing. Like that would
Mhm.
be, you'd be a psychopath if you didn't have sadness.
Yeah, I think there is a disease, isn't there, where people don't have pain at all, and
Mhm.
they actually have to have some extra sensory things done to them because of that, because the body is so detached that they don't know if they're hurt. Or speaking about comics, I don't know if you ever seen the movie. I mean, X-Men, but there's Glass, Dr. Glass, the guy who's real sensitive to everything. He's
Yeah.
just opposite. He's overly sensitive, and so he breaks real easy. So he has pain, and he decided to take the pain in a different direction. Once again, the choice of how you do.
Right.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. I would agree.
All right. Well, we never have any rules. We just keep on going. We talk about everything, as you can tell by this podcast. uh, we uh, we always welcome any subjects. If you guys want to subscribe to us on YouTube, and just let us know any comments there, and we'll have this episode up. And once again, I guess let's do a challenge here, like we always do. And Daniel, you want to go first this time?
Um, sure. Rest. I don't know why that's coming up, but it's what I always say. But I mean, if you're tired, take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
If you're tired, go to bed at 7 p.m. You need to sleep in, sleep in. Like, say no to things. Like, give yourself that space. Like, don't talk to people so long on the phone. Like, all these different things.
Yeah.
Like, be a little selfish with your healing, because I can tell you I've worked for a year or something on my business, and by resting for a week or two, I've had more opportunities show up than I did before. And it's so backwards, but it's almost becoming like undeniably true, where the more we chill and the more we rest, the more will expand for us, right?
Yes.
The more we let go of that's in the way of our expansion. Yeah. So the challenge is to rest if you're tired.
Yep. Which I did yesterday a lot.
Good.
So, well, my challenge, obviously, it's like I already said it before, but I'll say it again just because of what has happened to me with my uncle passing. Enjoy the things right now and don't look back at the past and whatever anger you have. It's like, just think about what would happen if those people were gone, or even just your stuff. I mean, if your stuff was gone. So be grateful for what you have now, because the only moment we have right now, and it's the only moment that we can enjoy fully. And what best gift do we have in our life? To just be here fully. Thank you once again. Thank you, Daniel, as always.
Thank you so much.
And I guess we'll see you next week, guys. Talk to you then. Bye.